Hello everyone, it's Supra, and let's discuss the topic of weapon reviews in Battlefield. The weapon reviews series of videos have been notorious in Battlefield since 3. Beforehand, there were a very vague or just outright no capacity to attachments to differentiate how a weapon handled or performed. So I think that was one good reason why there wasn't any validity to produce these style of videos. The Battlefield 4 subreddit has replaced my beloved Battlefieldo forum, and just a couple of days ago on the top of that subreddit there was a picture. This essentially takes the piss out of how typically Battlefield video producers like to make weapon reviews. Not to dismiss that picture, there is a strong sentiment behind it, and I'm in favour for it, as I will state in this video. I shall paste the imgur for your observation and credit it, all the things that you're supposed to do. We'll look at the pros and cons of how weapon reviews are theoretically, and then we'll look at how this imgur picture conveys to how YouTube video producers like to portray their weapon reviews ultimately. So, step 1, how to be a YouTube Battlefield 4 weapon reviewer. If it's a popular gun, like something like the AAK, you will say, AAK, the new best gun, question mark, and that's a nice touch from the author. Adding question marks to the end of titles that are not necessarily questions is a infamously easy tactic to apply to your titles, I guess to more easily encourage discussion. Or if it's an unpopular gun, title it something like UMP9, overlooked or terrible. So I think we can all agree that weapons in a first-person shooter are arguably the most subjective thing in the entire genre, along with the equipment. In Battlefield 4 you have 10 or 15 guns in the assault class, for instance, with 4 suppressors, 2 different types of each attachment, which doesn't exactly encourage balance, and Battlefield 4 isn't exactly a perfectly balanced game. But nonetheless, you would pick the gun which would suit your playstyle in terms of, are you aggressive or do you like to sit back and kill from a distance? And if you are good at controlling weapons in general. Now, even a newcomer to the genre isn't handicapped, and they have some sort of versatility in terms of which weapons they can choose. They aren't constantly a long-range player, they aren't constantly a close-range player. They will pick the weapon which is more suited for how they want to play in said game. So weapon reviews are theoretically good to encourage newcomers to try out different guns and whatnot. As it states in this imgur, these videos will notoriously have a Symantec screen grab pasted onto the video, not that anyone genuinely cares what it says, just that it's there for reference. So yeah, generally you could go on Symantec, or you could quite simply try out the gun for yourself. And if you have any good sense in you, you would pick the attachments to better suit that weapon. Now, let's get to the segment where we ultimately end up with in terms of Battlefield 4 and how video producers like to portray their weapon reviews. Battlefield 4, as I said, it isn't the most perfectly balanced game, and it definitely isn't the most fair game in terms of connectivity among player-to-player interactions. On top of that, weapon reviews are based on this unrealistic nocturnal scenario whereby it's 1v1, you're both in a gunfight, you both have max health, you both engage each other at the same time at a set range, and that virtually never happens. A lot of the time players are getting shot in the back or the side, or they're getting shot while they're reloading. The other player doesn't always have max health, and the other player might not be getting shot at by just one person. And only when you are in a gunfight do the weapon statistics truly become apparent. Apply the current issues with the netcode on top of this, and you conclude a pretty redundant video, in my opinion. In terms of how this type of content is typically created, it comes with some surprise when popular YouTube personalities that are quite known for making weapon reviews would produce weapon reviews on guns that were released in the CTE prior to the release of expansion packs. I shouldn't have to dignify those videos with an answer. Those weapons were released in the test environment, you know, keyword test. It was intended that they were about to be significantly changed in the update that was going to come for the expansion pack in the retail version. So ultimately, what happens when the patch releases and these guns change is your videos become redundant, and therefore your video was seemingly just a cash grab, wasn't it? You look at these videos that people release, and then 3 weeks later, the Bulldog, for instance, is apparently being significantly nerfed. This could happen 3 weeks after you make your weapon review, or 3 months. Ultimately, there isn't much longevity to a weapon review, but it's become, I want to say, stigmatized by the community because it's something that YouTubers will rely on mainly to get income. To be quite honest, there is a disgusting amount of people that grow their channels solely on producing weapon reviews. In my opinion, what it comes down to is these people tell you that the weapon will reload in 1.9 seconds so that you can easily shoot the next person in the back. Or, if it's Battlefield 4, it will utilize its own feature of having you get one-shotted the instant that you're in a one-to-one engagement with someone. That's all I have to say. I hope that it was well justified and you understood everything. Please rate the video and comment. Check out my other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.